Welcome. My name is Jen. I'm the executive director of the Hideo Sasaki Foundation, and I'm so thrilled that this room is full right now. Thank you all for being here. I'm just going to do a quick who are we, and then we're going to turn it over to the best part of our summers, which is all of you presenting. So the Sasaki Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and we host incredible design education programs like SEED. We also host the DESI program in the school year. So all of you students who are not graduating, please, please, please apply to DESI. And then we also host design grants, where we work with community groups from all over Greater Boston to help them through their design processes. And our SEED 3 students who are not here today actually worked with design grantees this year as their clients. And it was really, really wonderful. So thank you all for coming. We're going to turn it over to Meredith to introduce the SEED program. But first, who is Hideo Sasaki? I think this is really important. He is the founder of this incredible firm that we are lucky to live within. And he really, really cared about engaging with young designers and the next generation of design expertise and your community expertise and all that you could bring to the table, and and collaborative design, interdisciplinary design, which is what all of these students learned about all summer. And I hope it's what they came home and talked to you about all summer. I will also be remiss if I don't tell you about 2 incredible programs that we have coming up. For all of the folks who identify as women in the room, we have a Women in Leadership happy hour next Thursday, upstairs if it doesn't rain, on the rooftop. Please register. There is a QR code on the poster behind the cookies. And please register because it will sell out when we have a max capacity on the rooftop. And then we also have a plant propagation party in September. Both events are free, open to the public. That one will not sell out, so you don't have to register right away, but please do register so we know how much pizza to get. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Meredith, who is one of our board members at the Hideo Sasaki Foundation, but also the creator, the thought maker of the summer exploratory experience in design. We had this program idea. Meredith came to the firm and said, I kind of want to do this. And they did with 2 students. And then they did 7 students. And then a pandemic hit. And then they had 8 students and 12 students. And now we have 45 high school students and 11 college-aged interns working with this program. So this is all because Meredith said, I have an idea. So I would love to turn it over to her to say a few things. And thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Meredith McCarthy. I use she, her pronouns. I am an architect and associate principal here at Sasaki. I'm also on the board of the Sasaki Foundation. And many years ago, I was in the same position that many of you are, wondering what I wanted to do after high school. And I had no programs like this. I went into architecture on a whim. It worked out for me, but as I entered the field and I saw some of the challenges in the design world, I really wanted to give people what I wanted when I was 16, 17 growing up, an opportunity to learn about design with a safety net below you. So I am so incredibly excited to see a full room of 40 plus students. And I will say this one thing before we get going. You've put in 6 weeks of really, really hard work. The work is done. You have given the time, you've given your effort. I expect many of you, maybe a lot of you, are nervous right now. That's okay, that's good. It means you care. It means you're passionate about what you've done. But I want you all to know, when you get up here and you present your ideas, this room is full of people excited for you. And we are here to celebrate all of those ideas. So let's take a collective breath and let it out. And then you're all going to crush this. I'm really excited to see everything that you've thought up, and just know everyone here is cheering for you. So good luck, and I'll hand it off to Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming and making the time to be here for your intern, and for all of our amazing supporters and partners that are in attendance. We thank you. We definitely would not be able to do this experience for these interns without your support. So we wanted to just recognize all the people that have been involved with us this year. This is our seat staff. These are all the amazing college students that we're supporting and guiding. Yes, yes. They definitely deserve that applause. It was really, really amazing experience, you know, seeing them also grow as leaders, not just necessarily guiding, but also themselves develop, you know, these skills that are so essential to their careers in the future. And I'm very happy to know that we're going to have really great leaders in the next generation. So to begin, we can start I can introduce the seed projects really quickly. This year we had the City of Everett, 7 Acre Park, and we had JPNDC Small Business Complex. Oops, why isn't it going? And these were the amazing project advisors that help support the projects. These are all professional staff from here, Sasaki, and also some other firms this year. They basically came in and like each week we're giving students, you know, knowledge and like information as to how to think about their projects, design thinking, you know, how to use their softwares effectively. And they're the reason the projects look so amazing as well. For C2, we were working on with Boston Food Forest Coalition, WANA, and ROC on a food forest that they've already have plenty of community engagement for. So the students, you know, took their design and took it a step further. So what you're going to see from the C2 students is this more, you know, advanced and more just, you know, amazing design, like to bring to life what the community had asked for. And the project advisors that helped here are, you know, also people that are professional designers, architects, landscape architects, urban planners that have worked here at the firm for many years and are super enthusiastic and excited to work with our youth and teach them about everything that they know. Yeah, so without further ado, we're going to move on to the presentations. I'll just have Alexis come up and set them up for them. And we're going to be beginning with Team Marigold. So may Team Marigold make your way up here.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is our final presentation for the 7 Acre Park. We're Team Marigold. My name is Amelia. I'm from Everett, and I'm a rising junior.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm a rising sophomore, and I'm from Malden.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm a rising senior and I'm from Somerville.
I'm Nee. I'm a rising sophomore from Boston.
I'm Felix. I'm a rising junior and from Cambridge.
A little bit about our site is that before it was a dog park, it was used to repair and make World War II planes. So the soil does have a lot of contaminated soil, heavy metals, and chemicals. So there is a soil cap 4 feet under the soil. A soil cap is basically a tarp that lays in between the contaminated soil and the clean soil, so they're separate.
In the redesign, the City of Everett, the goals of the Everett were to increase activity in the park, stormwater management, and increase biodiversity in the park. And in our research, we found out that the people want the separations between leashed and unleashed dogs in the park and an increase in amount of shade. Our design aims to foster peaceful relationships and to create an accessible space that is resilient to future and present climate challenges.
Okay, so this is our site analysis. The green area is where residential living. The right here is actually the creek that's right next to the park. And then right over here is where it floods, actually. And then the yellow is the current pathways in the park. And then the orange represents the only two entrances and exits they have in the park.
So using
For our sun and shade analysis, as you can see, the existing trees don't provide much shade for the park, and the park gets a lot of direct sunlight all day. So this is a big reason why people don't want to come to the park.
So using our analysis, we created a design that will hopefully address the problems and goals that we found. So as you can see, we're going to add 3 new pavilions in the park. And the big one in the center in the shape of a dog paw is our community space where people will gather and host events and connect with each other. We're also going to have two small pavilions on the side, and these are more private areas to sit and relax. Over on the other side, we're gonna have a big fenced area for unleashed dogs, and for leashed dogs, they can walk on the rest of the park. We're gonna add two new entrances, one leading to River Green Park and one leading to the parking lot for easier access to the park. And we're gonna add a rain garden to help with the flooding. Overall, we're also gonna add more amenities like more trees, more benches, more water fountains, etc.
This is our pod pavilion, which is our central community space, and we wanted it to be made out of materials that were durable and would hold up outdoors. So we use oak wood for the base and the roof of the pavilion, and then for the outside walls, we use aluminum, and it's also used for the pillars. At the front of the pavilion, there's a ramp that's also an entrance, so there's a smoother transition between being on the grass and then being under the structure. And the roof is also sloped so that rainwater can easily flow off of it and it provides more shade. And then at the base of the pavilion, we have this cutout storage space that's used to hold these dog paw stools that we plan to use for when there's large events in the pavilion.
So this is our circle pavilion, and what makes it special is that it's more of an intimate area to sit due to the walls that surround it. Another thing is that in the back, there's a glass wall, so while you're sitting inside the pavilion, you can still gaze out into the park. And here's just a clearer view of the pavilion. As you can see, there's going to be a steel frame that holds the glass, and the rest of the pavilion is going to be made of Douglas fir, which is a strong wood.
Okay, so this is our smallest pavilion. Although it is the smallest pavilion, we still wanted to have a cozy, open feeling to it. As a whole, we wanted to add more green space to our farm, so we added some greenery in the actual pavilion. As Jasmine said, all the pavilions will have a slant to it to deal with weather acclimations, and this is what we envisioned the furniture to look like.
For our pavilion structures, we want to connect the pillar to the roof and base using steel plates and screws. This will allow the pavilions to be sturdy and resistant to weather conditions. For our Unleashed Dog Park, we wanted to add a dog obstacle so people and their dogs could bond and train together. The dog obstacles will mostly be made out of white oak. This will be inside the Unleashed Dog Park. The Unleashed Dog Park will be fenced.
Using the same materials for the fence, so this part of the Unleashed Dog Park will have a hill so people can sit on, and also for it not being a hazard for the dogs running around.
To help with the flooding, we want to have a rain garden in the park with 3 different layers for the water to filter through. And what happens is the rainwater will go through all of these layers and it'll catch a lot of the minerals and chemicals that are in the water. And then we also have a pipe that leads to the creek for when the water doesn't filter through quickly enough.
So in choosing the plants for our rain garden, we wanted to make sure that for one, they were all native to the area, and two, they all thrived in moisture. Another bonus was that most of these plants here all increase the biodiversity of the park in some way by attracting either bugs or birds. So here are the examples of what we want to add into the park, and this is just a blooming chart for the seasons where each flower blooms.
These are the amenities we plan to have in the park. We want to have these dog signs at each of the entrances to make the park feel more welcoming and friendly. And then we want to include new amenities into the park, such as the community library and the fridge that's there for those who need it, as well as the dog waste bag dispensers. And then we wanted to improve the existing amenities, such as the trash and recycling bins, to decorate them to better represent the park's audience. And we want there to be facts on the side so that it's more than just you're walking up to a trash can and throwing something away. You're also learning something. And then we want to add more water fountains around the park.
So when choosing the trees, we wanted to make sure they were completely harmless to dogs. We also wanted them to be native to Everett. And we also think that they bring in a good amount of shade and a good amount of color into the park, which is needed.
Okay, so if you guys haven't noticed by now, we wanted to have a dog theme for our park. So we incorporated these dog-shaped benches. And as we saw earlier in the site analysis, the park really doesn't have any benches right now. And the benches they do have are made out of metal, so they get really hot in the summertime. So we opted for something more like concrete so they don't get as hot. We also wanted to add storage to the benches so people could put anything they wanted for themselves or for their dogs while they're at the park. And we also wanted a place for people to sit that wasn't the pavilion, so they had an alternative. And then for the lighting, we opted for lights in the ground so people could walk in the pathways even when it's dark out.
Team Marigold hopes our design becomes an inspiration for the future redesign of the park to make it a better place for all the people of Everett who wish to visit. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Awesome. So we're just going to stay right here. So one wonderful thing about this project is that each City of Everett team had a City of Everett student in it. So they were the community member for their area. So we have Tom with the City of Everett wanting to ask a question. So here you go.
I just wanted to thank you guys, because one of the things that we lack in Everett is a functioning dog park. We do have one. It's not formal. It's 7 acre basically, and it's sort of how do I say this? Just folks took the time and made their own dog park. So one of the things that dog parks do is bring the community together. It introduces people who have never met each other through dogs. I work down at River Green and 7 Acre every day, and there are literally hundreds of people walking their dogs down there. And to have a formal place for them to meet, form a nonprofit possibly, do adopt a dog, that sort of thing is great. So thank you.
Awesome. You can all have a seat. Thank you so much for all your work. We're going to have Team Ren. This is Jarvitz's team. So sorry about that. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. We're Team Ren, and we're going to be talking about our project, JP Corner. I'm Victoria.
I'm Skylar.
I'm Ermias.
I'm Anna.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Kaden.
The Ren team aims to bring the Jamaica Plain community together by transforming the site into a flourishing environment. We imagine a place where everyone is welcome. And our goals are to bring the community together, attract locals and outsiders to the space at JPNDC, and create a welcoming space. Our user study shows the race and age demographics for the people that live in Jamaica Plain. For the race, the majority of people are white, some are Hispanic, some are Asian, very few are African American and multiracial. And for the age, our age groups vary, but they are mainly focused on 18 plus.
Okay, so this is our site in a bird's eye point of view with all the buildings and roads in the surrounding area. Transportation analysis. This is, as you can see, our site is highly accessible with roads, trains, and bike paths. This is good for both people in and out of the community to come and enjoy our site. Site analysis. This is what the JPNDC has to offer in terms of amenities such as Bike Not Bomb Shop, Ula Cafe, and the brewery. This is where people will be coming from to get to our site. Okay, so after our visit and site analysis, we believe community space, greenery, shade, and seating could improve the site in a great way, but also it would answer everyone's needs.
All right. So this is our design concept, and we made sure to implement the needs into it. So for shade, we have a pavilion. For greenery and color, we have floor art and trees and flowers on the side. And for seating, we have benches. Community feedback. The first day at work, we visited the JPNDC site. And the employees there, they requested that we keep most of the parking because there isn't much parking around the site. 2 weeks later, we got community feedback from the residents there. And they requested a community space where they could hang out, have shade, and a quiet place. So to accommodate both parties' needs, we kept 30% of the space for parking, and we used the rest for community space. We added solar panels on the top of the pavilion to charge your phone and other things like that. Vegetation and greenery all around the site. We added paths and stone paths that lead up to benches, and we added middle seating and a fountain. This is a perspective of our site drawn to scale. And this is our site in relation to the buildings around it and the streets that connect to it.
This is a diagram of our site showing the various entrances. The orange arrows are pointing to pre-existing entrances that we will be enhancing by adding nicer pathways and greenery to. These blue arrows are pointing to the entrances that we've added that will hopefully help the circulation of the site. This is a color-coded programming plan of our site. As you can see, the orange shows the pathways, green shows open space, blue is the pavilion, red is benches, purple is the parking lot, pink shows the bike rack area, and teal is for the fountain.
So focusing on the pavilion and the materials that we're gonna be using, we decided to go with oak wood for the roofing and sand finished concrete for the pillars because they're both very durable and water resistant. So it makes it really perfect for these environments in Boston. As Ermias mentioned before, we have solar panels on the top just so it benefits the site in the long term. Onto your right, you can see the inside and how people interact with the pavilion. For outdoors, as you see in the center, we're gonna have wood flooring and granite stepping stones, both for the same purpose as the pillar and roofing, great durable and water resistant as well. Again, you see some pictures on the right on how people interact with the site. As you can see, there's also children, adults, just showing you the variety of people that are gonna be on our site. Here's some more renderings of how people interact with the place. As you see, more children, adults from many different cultures, many different backgrounds.
For our vegetation, we had to keep into account that the plants had to be low maintenance. They also had to survive in different various of weathers. We wanted to have some flowers to add to a welcoming feeling for our site. So those flowers consisted of lavender, tulips, and daisies. We also wanted to have some shade around our bench areas. So we added some white oak trees and maplewood trees. And lastly, we wanted to have some bushes to bring aesthetic to our homely feeling, so those bushes are going to be evergreen rounded bushes. We wanted to have some art wanted to add some art to our site with so we had a fountain. It's an infinity fountain, and we got our inspiration from the Armenian Heritage Park on the Greenway. The fountain will be powered by solar energy. The solar power pump will be pumping the water through the fountain and out the planet on the top right. The fountain will also be made of aluminum to be made a reflective mirror-like surface. We're not moving into detailing.
So going back on the pillars, just bear with me, it's a little bit difficult to explain, but for both pillars, they're both gonna have the same thing in the inside. So that'll be a metal skeleton with concrete layer on the outside. But as you can see for the XY or the X style pillar, there's gonna be a metal plate holding both of those metal skeletons together. They're not quite touching, but they're relatively close. As you can see at the top, we call that the Y style pillar just because of its shape. And it's also gonna have a metal plate holding the metal skeleton together, but a little bit differently. They're gonna have screws and many other things that's gonna hold it together.
The solar panels are going to be placed on the roof of the pavilion above the X and Y columns so that the wiring can go inside the columns and onto the outlets so that people can charge their phones. We will also be potentially using the energy to power our water fountain. The water fountain detailing, they are made out of metal, and these diagrams show what they will look like on the site. They also meet ADA requirements.
These show our seating bench details. The main body of all our benches will be concrete with oak wood as the seating and backing to the bench. This is showing the mechanism holding it together. We'll be using an expansion bolt that goes down through the metal plate into the concrete that's down there with split connection screws coming up through the metal plate into the wood and into the upper screws. This is the mechanism we'll be using to connect all our benches.
This is the JP corner and what the JPNDC could one day look like. For the past 6 weeks, we've been working very diligently on this, and we're very proud of what we have made. We would like to give a huge thanks to the Saki Foundation, Jimmy, and Stephanie, and most importantly, our TA, Jaritza. Thank you.
That was incredible. My goodness. Is there any feedback? I know our JPNDC partners are online, so feel free to unmute when you're ready.
Yeah, I just want to say you guys have really blown us away with some of these concepts. I want to say that we gave you a task of making some designs and concepts that would be transferable around the brewery. And I think the biggest thing you guys really hit on making some good concepts that could be placed all around our 200,000 square foot complex, right? Maybe won't be necessarily at site A or B, but these are designs we could maybe implement in other areas or other aspects of our portfolio. And I think you guys hit the nail on the head with community feedback. When I looked at the survey responses, a lot of it was outdoor seating related, pathways and landscaping. So great job when it comes to you took the feedback from the community and you brought it to life. So kudos.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to echo Daniel's feedback and also just, recognize how difficult it is to create a space that meets the needs of different types of uses. And I think you guys have done a really excellent job at thinking through the different uses and how all of those would kind of interconnect. And I love the incorporation of solar into the roof of that space. So I think it's really exciting to see what the potential, we see this building every day and we just see what it is. And it's really nice to see what it could be. And I think at least for me, it's a good reminder of that there's space and work that can still move forward. So thank you all.
Hi guys, so we're Team Lavender. I'm Tao. I'm uprising sophomore at Boston Latin School.
I'm Alfe. I'll be a senior at the O'Brien.
I'm Hector. I'll be a sophomore at Everett High.
Unfortunately, two members of our team could not make it today. Their name is Daniel and Muse. So I'll tell you briefly about the history of 7 Acre. 7 Acre used to be an old General Electric that used to produce airplane during World War II. And after World War II have ended, they evacuated, leaving the site contaminated. Later, Everett made an effort to renew that area into a space where the people of Everett can just use it and as a dog park, therefore leaving a 4 feet cap for us to work with. So this is the table of contents. So this is what you can expect during our presentation. Our mission statement for 7 Acre is that we want to redevelop 7 Acre into a multi-purpose park for people and dog by giving amenities such as more water fountain, more shading, and as well as a center pavilion where people could have community gathering.
For our first goal, we would like to address the lack of shading, seating, and community engagement in our park. For our second goal, we focused on creating a climate-resistant design for the field.
This is our site analysis. So our park is located in Everett, Massachusetts. As you can see, there's a big residential area on the right side and a river to the left. This is how you get to the site. So our site currently has 2 main entrances with a desired path in the corner from the parking lot. And in the green, you can see how the shading of the trees on the site look like. And you can also tell it's going to be really hot because there's little to no trees on the site. This is the flood diagram. So this is what the site looks like under 5 feet of water, which is happening more frequently due to climate change. climate change. Our site has little to no drainage, making it really flooded.
So this is the utility analysis. These are the utility present at the park right now. What we have here are metal benches that would heat up during the hot summer days so that people cannot sit on it. We also have a metal trash cans that emits foul smell due to how hot it is. And we have as you can see here, sorry. We have a water fountain that is not within the park, therefore not accessible at all, even though despite it being a dog park. So here are the pictures we took when we first visited the park. That is me right there on the left bottom corner. I almost had a heat stroke, but I'm glad I'm here with you guys today. And the entrance, you can see, that's not very welcoming. Like you're not gonna go in there and get a track there. And as you can see from top left corner, it's very bare and plains and there's no activities.
This is our new design concept. We have 3 sections: dog park, activities, and human area. The dog park will be unleashed and fenced, and the 2 other zones will be leashed zones for dogs.
During our design progress, we first initially designed the park to have a lot of pathway because we thought that would be more convenient and accessible for people. But however, as we move on with our progress, we decide that we don't want as much pathway and we want more green space for the people of Everett because most people there are blue collar workers and they would have a lot of green space to just enjoy and relax themselves. Here is the final plan view of what you can see during our design.
This is our color palette. These are images that we took inspiration from. This is our pavilion. It's held up by concrete pillars and it has a steel roof supporting solar panels that will give energy to our site. We really wanted the pavilion to be the center of our site so the community could gather there and host movie nights and just like for a place for them to rest. These are some renderings. These are dog equipment because it's really important for dogs to have activities to do.
So this is the rain garden that we have made on SketchUp. This is what you can expect to see at the rain garden. It have a depth of around 3 feet, which would not exceed the 4 feet cap that existed. And it's built like this because it acts as a staircase. When the rain garden is not flooded up, people can just walk in there and just enjoy the scenery of the rain garden itself with the flowers around it. And as you can see, it's in the corner of right here. And this is the under drain system for the rain garden, but due to time restraint, I won't be able to talk about it, so you can ask question of it. This is the layers that you can expect within the rain garden. It will help filtering out water so that we can put out clean water back into the creek. Here are the 3 main flowers you can expect within the rain garden: swamp milkweed, May sedge, Aster. These are 3 native plants and they're all can increase biodiversity, as you can see.
These are the 4 different types of trees that we wanted. We wanted them to be native to our our location. They all range from 15 feet to 100 feet. They can all go in the soil that 7 Acre has. This is the blooming schedule. This is some renderings.
Here we have the designs we chose for different assets in the park. Here we have the trash bins, no, the waste bins for the dogs to promote cleanliness in the park. We also have the trash cans. We chose this design to promote sustainability in the park. And the water fountain we chose because it can be used by both dogs and humans. Here we have our lights. We chose them because there's not too many lights in the park currently. We also have our giant chessboard, which we chose mosaic flagstone. Here we have our benches. We chose cedar wood and stainless steel because they last longer and they wouldn't heat up as quick as other things. The ones for the grass would go in different areas in the grass. Here we have a rendering of the chessboard.
So these are the locations of where you can expect these amenities are. The giant chessboard is a purpose of like for people can just attract people or where they can just play on it. These are the rendering of the rain garden when it's flooded. This is the rendering of the dog park. And right now, this is 7 acre, as you can see, very plain and bare. And this is what will be in the future, very vibrant and very shady with that. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. What a wonderful presentation. I'm shocked at 7 Acre Park, the difference before and after. I have one quick question on the rain garden. A lot of times you show it with water in it. I'm wondering if it's possible, and if you thought about this, to have it somehow put the drainage pipe up higher so that it can have water in it for dogs to maybe jump in and swim or cool off. Just because it looks so cool when it had water in it. And I know you have it also as space for when it drains and you can walk down into it. I just thought about that.
Yeah. So for the rain garden, our piping is like you said, the outfall where water would get out disposed of from the rain garden is higher up because it's just a function to prevent water from overflowing from the rain garden. So when it's flooded, a lot of time it will be filled out. But when it's not, it will just be a space where people can just walk in. So we can't really have water on it for like 24/7 because it would just eventually dry out or because of the 4 feet cap.
Great, thank you. And I just want to also mention, you guys have done a good job on the drainage. That area is, with climate change that we have right now, not only is it hot most of the time and unusable, and people gather under the one shade tree there, there's also major flooding in that area. And I'm glad you guys took into account that. And with climate change, as you all know, the temperature's heating up. We get more dramatic rain, historic rain flow. And more concentrated rain flow. So it really comes in and fills up quick down there and makes it unusable. So thank you. And it's a great design. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to having all the folks to present to the mayor at some point if we could do that. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Can I just say, as a dog mom and a Everett,
Thank
resident.
you, Tom. And just so you all know, Tom works for the City of Everett. It's an amazing partnership that we have right now. And yeah, they do want our students' designs to be presented to the mayor of Everett. So we are really excited to have that, have leadership in the city to be able to like view the work that these students, including one of their own, have been doing these past few weeks. So without further ado, I'll invite Shantae to come on up and recognize her students for their completion.
I'm really proud of you guys, the work they put in these last 6 weeks. It's been great. I don't think I could have asked for a better group of students. And yeah, I'm just excited for everything you guys will produce in the future. Thank you guys. All right, Tao. Alfred. Hector. Oh, and also Musei Funtum and Daniel Bronstein. We wish they could have been here. They're here with us, but like we wish they could have been here. But yeah, they had other things to do. But no, thank you guys so much.
Lovely. They've built such great bonds over the last few weeks. It's been really, really inspiring. So we're gonna have Team Aster. This is our C2 students. If you don't know, while I get the presentation up, SEED has multi-levels. This is our group of students that have been with us for a while now. They were in SEED 1 last year, and now are entering SEED 2. And some of them have even been in DESI, which is Designing Environmental and Social Impact, where they tackle their own independent project based within their communities. So we're very excited to see their work. Oop, there we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're Team Aster, and today we'll be presenting Mono Food Forest, our project for 301 Norfolk Street.
My name is Garabed.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Mateo.
I'm Johan.
And I'm Divine, and our stakeholders are the Woodrow Avenue Neighborhood Association, the Boston Food First Coalition, and Redefining Our Community. Okay, so you've met the team. So this is just like a breakdown of what we're going to go through today throughout the entire presentation.
So with the vibrant community of Dorchester, we wanted to create a space that nourishes biodiversity and curiosity. With featuring an adaptable design, we hope that our food forest will promote communal connections and sustainable practices.
Now, before we get into the project, which is a food forest, as you mentioned earlier, we want to define what exactly is a food forest. Well, this is a food forest in Mattapan, actually created by the BFFC I mentioned earlier. But for a more formal definition, it's a man-made self-sustaining ecosystem that's minimally managed. So unlike a garden, it can stay on its own, and its purpose is to serve the community.
So now looking at our site context, our site is outlined in red. Our site is located on the border between Mattapan and Dorchester, and as you can see here, here's some notable locations within the community, such as Roberts Playground and Park, Fields Corner, and Harambee Park.
Now, we mentioned we're working with two sites. So this is the larger site on Norfolk Street. And as you can see, it's right next to the commuter rail. It's really next to a busy road, like the bus is showing up there. And it was once a residence, but was cleared off for clear land.
Moving on to Mascot Street, there's a topography challenge because the hill you can see is very steep, and there's also residential nearby. Moving on to the circulation, Mascot Street is a dead end, and the only way to get up to Norfolk Street is using a staircase, so the accessibility to get to our Mascot Street is very harsh.
So when we visited the site, one thing we noticed that the train passing by creates a lot of sound. So we're thinking of ways we can mitigate this in our site, which we're using foliage to create trees to block the sound. And with our water feature, we'll create a new and more inviting sound to drain out that other annoying sound.
Now, this is the proposed plan from the BFFC, and while we didn't go exactly with it, this is a representation of what the community wanted, which is what we really want to take into consideration when designing.
So this is a Venn diagram of the main ideas we want to emulate in our site. On the Mascot Street, we want to focus mainly on the food forest aspects, and on Norfolk Street on entertainment, but we wish to combine both on both sites. And bridging these two sites, we want to use community engagement and teaching and an art walk.
So taking the two main values from the concept diagram, we got community engagement and education. And this leads us to think, okay, who are the users that are going to be using our space? So like the community, elderly, artists, residents, activists, children, students. And then this leads us to think, okay, so what do we need in our program to get them to our site? That leads us to the food forest, kids zones, workshop, many more, but overall just seasonal programs so that our site is always being utilized throughout the year.
Here's a visual representation of our Venn diagram. You can see the art walk along the street, which will promote drivers to drive slower and not do as much speeding, which is a big problem there currently.
So from our spatial bubble diagram, this leads us to a more detailed site plan, thinking about the different entrances. For Norfolk Street, we have two entrances, the main entrance giving more community engagement experience with the kids zone and makerspace, and then another entrance back here giving more isolated, quiet, more nature walk.
And then in Mascot Street site, we also have two entrances for the site. One that goes down the garden ramp that brings accessibility to the site from Norfolk Street, and the other one from Mascot Street through the Welcome Pavilion.
So thinking about these different ideas, we decided on finding these are our precedents. So the first one is our water feature, where we took precedent from this feature where it both merges both community and water into the same space. And then looking at our makerspace, we focused on these three concepts where it's flexible and hospitable. And then for the kid zone, we want to think of something that's very tactile and engaging while still fitting in the concept of a food forest.
So moving on, so food forest is meant to provide for the community, but we wanted to choose foods that would benefit the surrounding population. According to WBUR, there's a large Caribbean population in Mattapan, so we tailored these ingredients to the main things that are found in the cuisines.
Now, based on the plantings we got early, we decided to make a planting map. And the point of this is to show the community where certain things could be planted. For example, the apple on the Mascot Street, a really big red circle, it's placed there because apples really need a lot of sunlight, and that place is quite exposed. So they will be getting ample sunlight, in contrast to the ginger, which is the triangle over there. It needs a lot more shade, so it's put to the side.
So now looking at our first feature, which is the water steps, this is a perspective view of what it could be like if you were engaging with the site. And we want to focus on accessibility, so there's an included ramp. And so looking at the more technical aspects, you can kind of see how the water will circulate throughout this whole feature, starting off with this jet nozzle geyser that will kind of shoot the water up, provide some ambient noise as it flows down through this kind of winding course, and then finally ends up at a drain where it'll either recirculate throughout the system with a water filter and pump system, or drain in cases of overflow. And so kind of looking at the material aspects, we want to focus on materials that are very sustainable, very multifunctional and engaging with our site. So for example, the pebble mosaic floor that's multifunctional and can be used both in circumstances with water and in the winter when there's no circulation of water.
So now moving on to our second feature, which is the makerspace. So this is going to be a simple structure where it's with solar panels on the roof to fuel and source the power for the events that could be held there. We are thinking of having a two curtain system, which will allow the community to play with the facade, one being more opaque, one being more sheer. This will allow the community to use the space more formally or informally, whether that's having events or just hanging out the park.
Next, we're moving on to our kid structure. We were inspired by the concept of age tree rings, sort of bringing it back to the motif of nature. We mainly want to focus on sound, music, and touch. So that's why we have a variety of different materials as well as programs within our structure, like a learning wall and turf rock climbing. And overall, this is just a perspective to show the universal design of how children of all different ages and abilities are able to use our structure. And these are more perspectives that sort of show the flow and variety that the structure has to offer.
Moving on, so one thing we noticed with the Mascot Street site, it's very open, so there's no shade. So we decided to fix that with a welcome pavilion. So this is meant to be a very open and flexible structure made with steel, and it resembles a Pringle.
Moving on towards the garden ramp, also at the Mascot Street site, it was used to promote accessibility to our site. You can see that almost half of it is garden space, so we're trying to keep the forest feeling while also providing accessibility up. And there's also a staircase that leads throughout. Looking at the section cut, again, the ramp is ADA accessible, and it's also going to be covered with art, so it can connect the two sites together. The white line represents where the soil approximately is today, so you can see how the ramp is solving the accessibility issue.
So going back to our two major points, which was community and vegetation, I want to focus on a statistic that states that 20% of people within the surrounding area, including Mattapan and Dorchester, are food insecure. And we hope to tie that back into our project by providing fresh vegetables, as well as 150 community meetings have been held in the area. And so our project really seeks to kind of engage that community engagement aspect.
So this is the Mascot Street site currently. And this is what it could be, the proposal.
And this is Norfolk Street currently. And this is our Norfolk Street proposal.
And we want to just end off by thinking about the fact that this project not only just seeks to grow vegetables, it seeks to actually grow a community that's resilient, open-minded, and inclusive for all.
We want to thank our mentors and our TA, Jillian.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Liz is in our audience. She works for the Boston Food Forest Coalition and has been an amazing partner. So Liz, if you would like
Hi.
to comment.
Yes, I'm online. And I am completely blown away. Thank you so much. I think there's a really high dual creativity and also looking at infrastructure. So the new spaces, some of the new ideas like the maker space and the art walk are really creative solutions. And I just want to thank you so much, and attention to Caribbean foods and the garden ramp, all of it is amazing. So I thank you so much. I am looking forward to sharing these ideas with Rock. I'm not sure who is in the audience with you, but I am completely impressed and blown away. And thank you so much. Great work.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's amazing what all you have created. It's nice, but we are trying community who walk into the park, because if we want to drive over there, where's the parking? Because I see Moscow Street at that dead end, and the other side of the Norfolk Street there's a highway. It's not a highway, like they drive. It's no parking. So are we trying to invite community? That's the community in the area where they walkable to the park access.
Well, one thing we noticed about the site is that it's mainly in a residential area, and we're hoping that that community can use it by walking through to there. Another thing that is right there is the bus stop, so that's an easy way for people to get there, and there's bike lanes around. But really, we're focusing on who lives in the close proximity.
Thank you.
I know we're at the halfway point, and I didn't want, I could say this for all of the presentations that have happened, so I will just kind of say it once, but assume it applies to everyone. Fantastic job. The first half, I don't know, someone mentioned maybe Team Ren and expansion bolt. I didn't learn about that until my third year of college, so you are already set up to build things. Fantastic storytelling. I think the community impact where we do site analysis, and then sometimes we set it aside and check that box, but you brought it back and you said, these are why, our designs are important. Really, really fantastic. So congratulations to everyone. I look forward to the next couple, but great job so far.
Yeah, I'd also like to share. So I actually grew up in Rosendale and traveling through Mattapan a lot. And I think this would be such an incredible thing for them to have. And also the play structure. Oh my God, like I would love to bring my kids to the play structure. And I love the way you integrated, the local foods, because I think, lots of immigrant families, come from farming backgrounds, but when they arrive here, there's really nowhere to farm, there's nowhere to go back to those roots. So I think it's really awesome that you've incorporated that through both designs at Mascot Street and as well at the Norfolk Avenue.
Hello, everyone. It is really nice to have you here. Thank you for your presence. We really appreciate the time that you took to be here. We are really happy to share with you our project. We worked really hard on it. We are Team Delilah, and we like to proudly present Creative Commons, our project on the JPNDC. My name is Hector. I am an uprising senior.
My name is Byron. I'm a rising sophomore.
And I'll be a rising junior.
My name is Layla, and I'll be a rising junior.
Sebastian, I'm an uprising sophomore.
And in the back, we have our teaching assistant, Geronimo. Okay, over on the past 6 weeks, we have put in a lot of work into this project. It started by visiting our site, in which we got a lot of feedback from both the tenants and just everyone around in the JPNDC area. And after that, we proceeded by thinking of ways we could mitigate or perhaps completely revert some of the problems that we analyzed. And then we proceeded by conceptualizing, diagramming, and then trying to bring it to life, some of our, a little bit of our vision. As Team Delilah, our mission statement is to provide people from all different backgrounds with a platform and the tools necessary for them to further their progress that may or may not have been slowed down in the past due to racial and social inequalities. We envision a space in which everyone can come in, feel like they are welcome, and feel like they are part of something.
All right. Who are the JPNDC? The JPNDC stands for the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Development Corporation. That is located at 284 Armory Street. This corporation allows Boston residents to be empowered and address racial and economic inequalities. This gives access to stuff like secure housing and tools for opportunities for people to fulfill their yeah.
So as he said, the JPNDC, it's a really good organization. It provides people in need with a lot of the tools that they have, that they would need to further their progress, put themselves back into their feet. And moving on, we'd like to give some basic information on our side, what we are working with and why we have come up with the things that we have come up. But before that, for that reason, it's important for us to understand who is around the area. And you can see that although the majority although the surrounding population is mostly white, you can still see a presence of different backgrounds. And it's that diversity that we plan to honor and represent through our amenities and programs. It's also interesting to note that 81% of the population is ages 18 and up. So, we have this youthful community that would really appreciate a space to have their voice heard. And as you can see, over 50% of the brewery's businesses are owned and run by women and people of color. So it was clear to us as a team that our values and the JPNDC values aligned, which is really great. And so once again, this is a map of our site. As you can see by the dotted line over there, that is the JPNDC as a whole. That is the building complex. And in the smaller box, you can see that is our site. It's called Site A. And you can see that it's a highly residential area with some institutions, with some commercial buildings. And what we plan to do with all of that information is to have these people come in and have this space that their neighborhood may lack.
For the methods of arrival, we have 8 to 5 minutes from Stony Brook and from Green Street, which is lower on the map, which takes about 12 minutes. Bike paths are usually taking about like 3. And the main entrance being right there. I don't know if you can see it right there. And other entrances that aren't like on like a direct path.
Hey, I'm up. Upon our visit to the brewery, there were three very glaring issues with Site A. The primary ones being an obvious lack of shade, seating, and signage. The shading was an incredibly large issue because there were very few because the heat was absolutely unbearable, compounded by the urban island heat effect, a phenomenon where the ambient temperature in an environment is raised or elevated compared to others because of the amount of concrete and asphalt contained within them. Due to the lack of seating, there was very few places to comfortably exist within the site, as most of the people who came with us there were either forced to sit out in the sun, which again, due to the lack of shading was horrible, or sit on the wheelchair ramps railing. And finally, the signage was painfully obvious by the singular sign out by the Amory Street entrance that with with the very little advertising that the brewery has, made it incredibly difficult to attract customers, something that both patrons and businesses and the inhabitants of the brewery both noticed.
For some context on the heat that is there, these two maps are two maps that show like how much sun the site gets itself. These two maps show like during the summer solstice, which is known as the hottest day of the year, which it gets about like 10 hours of sunlight, and the building getting about 13.8, so like almost 14 hours of sunlight with little shade. which is a lot of heat.
Me again. Hey, Hector, could you play the video? 2 times. On the left, you'll see that Hector's setting up the YouTube video. It's a simple pan over of the entire site. In context, it's got every single thing that we wanted to put in there. On the right is a circled and color-coded map, or I guess categorized is really the best word. Sector A in orange is our primary parking lot. It is the only place that motor vehicles are allowed inside. The space closest to the brewery is reserved for handicap parking for ease of access, while the left and right sides of the entrance are general parking for vehicular access. Sector E right above it is just the storefront of the Bikes Not Bombs. It's just a nice seating arrangement. C is our main seating arrangement. It's got shade structures placed above it in order to protect people from directly being hit by the sun, while also giving them a place to sit down. B is our shopping district, if you will. Some small businesses are able to set up shop there. And the pied de resistance, I'm not French, nor do I speak it. Site D is our greenhouse. It's just a nice, serene place to sit down.
This is a front layout of the vegetation and the 2-story floors, and where residents are able to come and just enjoy the greenhouse and have the other business spots and areas and just relax. This is the vegetation layout of the inside and where vegetation, and you could see that you could just sit down and congregate with other people and take photos.
This is an outlook of the site from, sorry, that was loud. This is an outlook of the site from the front of the greenhouse. While it is more cluttered than the parking lot stands now, there is still quite good visual clarity, and every important sector of the site is viewable from this area.
And this is the blooming diagram of when the seasons of when certain flowers would occur, and then those are the flowering details.
Here are our amenities that we've added on the site. Starting off, we have the stalls, and you can see that there are 8 stalls, which are made out of stainless steel, and there's 2 feet between each stall so that there's the vendors can come in and out of the space easily. And on the bottom right, here is what we want the community to look like when we have the stalls on here. You can see that there's a cornhole game, and there's just people that are vibrant here. And across from the stalls at the seating, we have the seating that are underneath the tarps so that people sitting can have shade.
This is the greenhouse. This is the structure of the greenhouse, how it stands itself up, obviously. The walls of the site are a curtain glass wall design. The 2 slab edges, the floor and the ceiling of the greenhouse are affixed to mullions, structural window pieces that align the 4x4 foot tempered glass panes into a grid-like pattern. This allows each pane to stand up neatly in a grid configuration and actually support itself. The wall itself is made of a double pane tempered glass system. Tempered glass is just a much safer and more durable option than other types of glass, especially helpful considering the roads that run right next to it, and also to prevent accidents from causing major injury. There's a low emission hard coating applied to the glass to add to the durability, some UV protection, and for extra dirt, and for the ability to add accessories in between the panels. Added to that, the double pane system adds further installation.
Here are the murals that are painted at the Bikes Not Bombs area. You can see that there's 2 murals that we've added here and also a space. The space is an open area for customers and the local artists that have painted these murals to come and see the artwork. We also have additional chairs and tables there so people can also sit there.
Me again. On the left is a proposed mechanism for affixing poles or constructing the shade structures. A polyethylene tarp is linked to a retractable metal wire contained within a casing bolted to a wooden or metal pole. This allows the target to be pulled down, unhooked, and deconstructed when needed, and the hook can return to its original place. On the right is just where each of these contraptions would be placed.
And to combat the problem of signage around the site, we would like to have the first kiosk being a kiosk that will have like a digitized format of every store that is at the site, which will be put at the front entrance of the site. And the second one, which also combats the problem of signage and which caters for additional seating, will have a map of what is inside of the building and also what is outside, and will be solar panel so it gets energy from the sun, and where you could also charge your phone with charging ports. And this is how it would be displayed on the kiosk with a 2D and a 3D format of the site and like what is inside of the building with different recreational spaces.
And finally is a secondary wayfinding system adding on to the kiosks that Byron just presented. It could be either material-based or design-based. That is to say that each of these systems would involve either the construction of different paths using different materials or a decal applied to the already existing floor. On the diagram on the right, you'll see basically how this works. Intertwined paths lead to the same locale, at which point they diverge in certain areas to lead to individual parts of the brewery, making it easier for people to navigate their way around the brewery. And material base, each path would be constructed out of something different. You could use red brick. Let's see, you could use regular pavement, dirt paths. I forgot what they're called, but you could have cobblestones, etc. In the middle is just an example decal I made up. It's for the Ula Cafe, one of the shops at the entrance of our site. It's got some biscuits with the name Ula on them and some coffee cups to represent the cafe aspect.
This is our project. We hope that it can help this community and it can further the lives of people who are so greatly affected by the JPNDC's work. We'd like to thank everyone from Sasaki. The people who funded it are really helpful and really nice. T.A. Geronimo, he has been a really important component of this experience. We'd like to thank everyone who has been here and who was here. You made the experience really well, really great. And we are really happy to have this to show for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Daniel and Ricky, feel free to unmute when you're ready.
Hi. So what made you guys want to scratch the dome?
They just didn't fit very well within the site. They served basically this, while the electrical work would have been a lot to get done, it took up a lot of space for very little reward. As in like 1 or 2 people would be able to situate it in a space that could be occupied by much more.
Cool. Yeah, so my feedback on this, obviously great job. I want to say, I think you guys did a good job of getting a sense of, so our whole thing is community engagement as well, right? Our mission is you guys captured our mission really well. And a lot of the design work and concepts is we look for feedback from the community. So I think you guys did a good job of taking a step back and highlighting the JP demographic and how would the community respond to these concepts. I think you guys did a good job of tackling that. They're not concepts for the sake of concepts. I think you guys did a good job of designing concepts that are designed to solve issues at the brewery. So kudos. I can tell you guys are really good at what you do and you've been doing it for a while. So just another great presentation. Really appreciate, being that site for these concepts. So yeah.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate, we are really happy to know that you enjoyed, and we hope that this feeling can be spread across throughout all of the community.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthias.
I'm Kathleen.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Suli.
I'm Selena.
We're TMVFT, presenting Acre 7 Renewal in Everett, Massachusetts.
So we VFT believe design should reflect community. An ideal design should embody sustainability, thus a community should be cohesive with the environment. During our design process, we prioritize innovation while drafting solutions and consider all populations and the individual.
So our site was previously used by the company General Electric as a dumping ground, and it was now recently capped and open to the public as a dog park.
So for our site, it is located in Everett. It is in the area of Boston. Up here, we have residential areas, which is buildings, houses, and stuff like that. Here we have the site, and right under that, we have the parking lot and the Malden River, which connects to River Green Park.
In addition, here are the current amenities that I know the other groups went over this, but we'll do breeze through this. We have a serious lack of shade as well as metal trash cans and benches that are very uncomfortable. In addition, we have lack of amenities and recreational activities, as well as uninviting entrances and one singular metal water fountain that isn't even in the site. So in the past, previously, the councilors have decided that this should be used as a walk park for people as well as a dog park for the dogs. But however, the community has found that there are issues such as people can't walk because the dogs are off leashes, and this proves a hazard. And it's also difficult to get into the park due to snow and ice during the winter season. And so our renovation of River Green Park aims to provide additional recreational opportunities with improved comfort and environmental cohesiveness within Everett. The equipment. So we'll first take a look at the terrace. So we wanted to create an area where people without dogs or who don't like dogs are still able to enjoy their time at the park. So we wanted to keep the pathways and elevate this middle portion, which can add some steps so people can actually access the top of it, and then platforms and a ramp so for more activities. And then finally, we wanted to hollow out the building so people can enter it and add holes on the top of it so trees can grow out and sunlight can enter the building.
These are the two perspectives of the terrace that we have designed. And so on the right, the sketch represents the patio on the upper northern side of the stairs, and the sketch on the left represents a direct view of somebody standing directly on the terrace.
And so here's an interior layout of like when you go inside the building, because we can access this building in the winter season or when it's cold or raining. So we have a central community space in that gray area over there. And we also have a designated indoor dog park. So it's for the use of winter and other seasons, as well as a dog care center and grass patches to allow the trees to sprout. Here's our structural layout and how we plan to support this big building. There are columns that act as barriers, as well as barren walls, grass patches, more elevation, and panels and blinds that offer a flexible sunlight path into the building. So here are the columns of varying homes. I know you can't see the dimensions, but they vary from 1 foot to 4 feet, and they're distributed throughout the building.
So this is another perspective view on the inside of the terrace. Looking into a tree, you can see a door over here. You can see a parent and maybe with their kid from the nearby school over there, interacting with the environment. This is also wheelchair accessible. And up there, you can see a person up top looking from the surface up to the bottom floor of the terrace, which is really like, it shows how interactive the environment is. For an in-depth view of our footing on the details for our wooden doors next to our tree, we have a tree root barrier over there to make sure that the tree on the other side does not penetrate the footing or the cap. We also have 5 different components to ensure that our doors are really insulated during the winter. And this is all 4 feet, which means it would not penetrate the cap underneath. Part 2, rain gardens and bioswales.
So as mentioned before, there is a flooding issue in the park. So to combat that, we created a drainage system. So the water that would have flown through on the sidewalk will now enter the bioretention swale along the sidewalk. From there, it would move to the rain gardens, and it will wait in the rain gardens if the pipes are too backed up before being sent back to the river again.
Another issue that we noticed about the site is the lack of accessibility. As you see in the red circles, there are 3 entrances. However, one of them in the bottom left corner is unnoticeable. It's just like sort of an informal entryway from the parking lot. And so we've decided to use these bridges over bioswales that Sully can talk more in depth about.
And then in addition, we'll have a total of 6 rain gardens, but this one in particular will have a bridge going across from it. It will help establish a more official entry and improve accessibility so that people entering from the parking lot will not have to go all the way around the site to enter the park.
To clarify, a rain garden is essentially a garden of native shrubs, perennials, and flowers planted in a small depression, and it usually consists of mulch, filter fabric, native plants, sandy soil, and gravel to catalyze the drainage process. And it's also serves a purpose to provide localized stormwater and flood control and improve water quality. It is also low maintenance and it preserves native vegetation. It also attracts beneficial birds, butterflies, and insects. These are the 2 renders of the rain gardens that we designed, and so we decided to use plants species that were native to New England area to distribute throughout the rain gardens throughout the site.
So this is our elevated dog park. So here at the top, we have a dog splash pool for the dogs whenever it's a really hot day and they want to cool off. Right under that, we have the bioretention swale, which would be full of bushes and flowers. Under that, we have pea gravel, which is where our play equipment would be because it's safe for dogs. And then we have concrete right under that so people could sit and watch the dogs, can walk over, sit and watch the dogs. So this is our bioswale diagram. In the first layer, we have mulch, which supports plant growth, it has good filtration and drainage. On the second layer, we have sand, which prevents fine particles from the filter media. The third layer is fine gravel, which creates an oxygen-deprived environment. The fourth layer is gravel, which prevents fine particles from the filter media as well.
Part 4, play equipment. We believe dogs should be safe and comfortable with the materials they're using, which is why we're going to use recycled plastic, stainless steel, aluminum, and treated wood. These materials are strong and weather resistant, environmental friendly, and other chemicals may be harmful for dogs. We're also going to surround the dog park with pea gravel. Pea gravel is inexpensive, safe for dogs, and doesn't hurt their paws. So in conclusion, these 5 components make up our dog park, which would look like this. So all 5 of these components are essential because one, it includes a community with non-dog owners and also a community with dog owners. That way they can share one space at 7 Acre Park.
And as you can see here, this is like a terrace view where people can overlook the dog park. They can look at people playing around, people on their bikes, people with their dogs. But they can also look below the building. They can see through the gaps within the fences. And these trees provide a great shade. And here is like an underground view where they can see above, and people can bring their dogs in and during winter.
So as you could see here on the left, this is our elevated dog park. And wouldn't you just love to sit here and watch your dog play and cool off?
Yeah, and in the middle, you can see that the park is easy to access by anyone.
And also the rain garden, it's also appealing to look at, and it's also fulfilling its purpose to drain the floodwater. So wouldn't you want to walk in the path along these beautiful flowers?
Thank you.
Wow, I want to go there. I have dogs, so I was really happy to actually share all my excitement for dogs with the interns. So it was really awesome to see a space, all the spaces and ideas they've come up with. But I'm going to pass it over to Tom.
Wow. Wow. I have to say I'm the conservation agent in Everett, and we've been working on River Green, which is adjacent to this park, for at least 6 years now. And I'm just, like you, incorporate everything that we've been working on into your project. I'm talking about the same plantings that we've done, the restoration of the wetlands. Just yesterday, which just blew me away, we built a footbridge through some of the wetlands. So your design with the footbridges as entrance, the bioswales, the shade, what I mentioned earlier was the water feature and splash pad for dogs, which is, I've never seen one. I think it's great. So really, really, really well done. Blown away by it. And I want to thank you all for your great work. Very, very professional and very well done. So thank you.
I think that, I mean, honestly, I'm so inspired by everyone's designs. This is like just quick word from the foundation. This is why we do what we do. Like, you know, these students come in and they do not have experience. Like, that's what I want you all to remember. They don't have experience, but we believe they're so capable of doing what they're doing. You know, youth are so incredible. So I think you had something to say. Did you have something?
I just wanted to thank everyone in the Sasaki Foundation. Thank you for everything you guys have done, and a big thank you to our TA Zeke. I don't know where he is, but okay, no, he's right there in the kitchen.
So we're Team Clover, and this is our JPNDC final design. My name's Jason.
My name's Ryan.
My name is Kayala.
My name's Tatiana.
And I am Nelly.
So JPNDC, short for Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Development Corporation, is a nonprofit organization, and we have been tasked with working on 2 of their empty parking lots, which we call Site C and Site D. You can see here, there's just empty parking lots. There's literally nothing, no shade, nowhere to sit. It's just a boring, hot parking lot.
After 6 weeks of hard work, we've taken these empty, hot, gray parking lots and transformed them into an exceptional site that the residents of Jamaica Plain and soon all of Boston will call Clover Center, because after all, luck is right around the corner.
So our mission for Clover Center is to provide access to a sustainable and engaging space in the form of recreational areas and leisure spots to incite creativity and diversity in the community.
On the top, we have Site C, and you can access it by going through Just Street or Border Street. And if you walk down Bismarck Street, you will find Site D right there. Surrounding our sites are many businesses such as the Ula Cafe and the Sam Adams Brewery. We also have other corporations such as Bike Not Bombs and Architects. Here we have our site, which is highlighted in red. The blue is the brewery complex, and the yellow is all of the residential area, which is great because we can attract all of these people to our site. Right here, we have vegetation in the form of trees, but as you can see, none are directly on our site, which makes it unappealing and uninviting. We decided to create a mood board which highlights our color palette and our main material, which is wood. We chose wood because we wanted our space to feel homey and welcoming and inviting, and we also added vegetation to give it more life.
Okay, starting off strong with Site C. Site C in this diagram shows the circulation. The green arrow shows pedestrian circulation through the different features, while the red arrows show the vehicle circulation. And as Nelly mentioned, you can enter through Porter Street or Bismarck Street. Here you can see the different features that we have. We have a performance area as a stage, a playground and rec area, which are prime spots for children to play, and a picnic area with a food truck for people to eat and socialize. Here are some of our inspiration for our features. We have a shed, which will have different kinds of activities like hula hoops and chalk, inspiration for our playground structure, and inspiration for our picnic table, which will have a solar panel umbrella that will lead into outlets that you can charge your phone or computer on. And then we have inspiration for our amphitheater seating. So it will be like a round bench for the stage. Here are some of our final designs. Our rec area will have garden beds for kids to practice gardening and to learn, and there will be teachers present to teach them. A rec area, or an art station for kids to do art and a hopscotch, and then a bike rack and parking. We received feedback from the tenants at JPNDC, and they thought they needed more activity, but minimal parking because there was already so much parking, so we kept about 6 spots.
Here is our picnic area. It is a great place for the community to socialize together. There are 6 tables in total and a food truck with different cuisines. And then we have our playground where parents can easily watch their children from the seating area. And then the performance stage, which actually is currently a loading dock, but we decided to repurpose it for a place for locals to come and perform. The umbrella, the table and chairs will be made out of cedar wood, which lasts a long time. And then the solar panel is at the top right corner and will lead down into a control box out like that with the outlets where you can charge your electronics. The stage will have a roll-up door, which was already there, but we decided to keep it. And then we decided to add maple hardwood steps that attach to the asphalt concrete and lead up to the floor, which is also made out of maple hardwood.
Walking a bit from Site C, you can find Site D. Site D is designed for more of a relaxing space and used for holding meetings. This is because the tenants and residents of JPNDC wanted a place where they can hold meetings peacefully. This diagram shows the movement of vehicles and pedestrians. The red arrows are vehicles, while the green arrows show the movement of pedestrians and bikes. Using the feedback, we decided to add additional rest areas, shading, seating, water stations, additional parking, and also additional trash bins too. These are some of our inspiration for our features. The gate over there is leading to the entrance of Site D. The solar panel, the table over there charging the phones are using solar panels for electronics. These are additional seatings, and these are the murals. The solar panel overhang, it can be used for charging your electronics, as said previously before, and they're also good for like lunch breaks. The Site D gate leads into Site D and makes the site more welcoming, more open. And the round bench seating is not only a place for relaxing, but also like for lunch breaks and stuff, commotion, yeah.
So the solar panel overhang is like a shaded area, and it has a solar panel on top with wires going down, connecting the solar panel to some charging outlets. And there's a table right there, so you could sit at the table and work while your device is charged. And round bench seating, there's 2 round benches, one in Site C in front of the stage and another one in Site D. So like, hold on. There's cushioning on the inside, so it's comfortable. You want to sit there, and the outer layer is woven polycarbonate.
Okay, so as you walk around our site, we want to make your experience better. So that's why we decided to add other side add-ons. Here we have water stations to prevent dehydration and make your experience more right. And then we also added canopies since there was a lack of shade, and this will also serve as wayfinding as they run through both of our sites. We also have trash cans to promote good habits and keep Clover Center as clean as possible. Here we have a Clover mural, which runs from Site C down to Site D. This is because we wanted to keep our sites connected. And if you are in Site C, you will find yourself following the mural down to Site D. And we also use our Clover logo to mark the entrances and main attractions at our site.
The vegetation we choose to add to our site are all native in Massachusetts and are ideal for our urban areas. Some of the benefits of these plants, specifically for the trees, are the shadbush provide a food source to many animals like birds and bees. The hawthorn beam is resistant to urban stressors such as wind, disease, pests, ice, etc. Because after all, we live in New England, weather is unpredictable. For the plants and flowers we are going to add, the dragon head is adaptable to soil and moisture levels, and similar to the clover root, they are both perennial, so they will return on their own each year. You can see examples of where we're going to place them, how they look in each flower bed and planted across our site, and some of the trees in the background. But why not have a closer look as we guide you through our virtual tour? So we enter the gate to see Site D, people working and enjoying their break. We follow our Clover mural to the performance area as people watch and enjoy a show.
Right next is our rec center where people engage in many activities. But right around the corner, we can watch as people eat, enjoy food, socialize, and pick your choice of food from our food truck. And of course, you can leave the kids in the playground while you take a break. And we thank you for visiting our Clover Center.
A special thank you to our project mentors and our TA right here, Ruth. And thank you for your attention.
Awesome. Daniel and Ricky, if you're open for feedback.
Ricky had to hop off, I believe, but I'm happy to speak for her as well. So I have some comments. If I wasn't already blown away by the design and the concept you guys have come up with, I'm doubly impressed with your delivery of this presentation. You guys are clearly not shy to let us know about some of the deficiencies that we have to address, and I appreciate that. So thank you for that. And overall, I just want to give you guys, your kudos. You've clearly worked really hard on understanding the brewery. The site plans are very well detailed, and the designs are a good representation of what the brewery could be, and to drive community engagement even further. You guys have run with the feedback that the tenants have given you. You've analyzed the issues very well, and you've come up with very detailed solutions. So thank you for that. I want to close by saying the entire program, happy that we got to be a part of it, between the JPNDC teams and the Everett-based teams. Like, if you guys, enjoy doing this stuff, there's clearly a future in this line of work for you guys. So keep pursuing your passions and keep working hard. And I look forward to having the JPNDC teams to present their presentations more interpersonally with the real estate department and some other invitees. So looking forward to that. Thank you all, and congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Before I move it on to feedback, these students are also going to be meeting with the JPNDC's real estate team. That's what he was speaking about. So we're very excited that, they're excited about all the, ideas that students have had. So that's what he was mentioning. We have a comment.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you on a job well done, but I was very impressed by the way you repurposed an existing loading dock and changed it into a performance stage to manage. That was amazing and that's what requires minimal investment, and you turned into an existing boring structure into something that was going to serve the community. Kudos, that's very creative.
All right, welcome everyone. We're the C2 interns. I'm Safiwa.
I'm Elena.
I'm Sam.
I'm Eduarda.
And I'm CJ.
And we're thrilled to show you our food forest called Emerald Commons. So just a brief overview, we'll be going over 6 things today: our introduction, our site and concept, our materials and our plants, both the Norfolk and Mascot site that we're all working on, and our conclusion. So starting off with our introduction.
So our task was to design a food forest in Dorchester. So working with 3 community organizations, we were given an original site plan that inspired our design for the food forest. And for those who don't know, a food forest is a self-sustaining green space where the community can grow and eat their own food.
So going on to our mission statement, we want to encourage wildlife engagement and community building throughout both of our sites. And by embracing a diverse environment to empower the natural, educational, and human aspects of our food forest, we want this park to not only just support us, but the animal residents of Dorchester. So going into our site and concepts.
As you can see, this is the site photo for one of the sites called Mascot. As you can see, the land is pretty slope in some areas, and it's right next to the train. And this is Norfolk site photo. The building was residential before taken down. You can see the driveway, and it's right next to the train too.
Moving on to our existing conditions. So as you can see, our site is labeled in pink.
And we've labeled 3 areas around that are important in the neighborhood. So we have Roberts Playground, Harambe Park, and Brook High School.
When we began our site analysis, we first decided to look at sound, and we noticed that the sound from the commuter rail nearby would also affect both sites, as well as cars and pedestrians outside of both sites. But we did want to amplify the bird sounds to give the site a more community feel and a more forest vibe. We also looked at transportation of our site, and there's for Norfolk Street, there's a bus stop right outside of the site, as well as accessible bike lanes and sidewalks. And for building types nearby, there are a lot of residential areas that we wanted to tap into to give a community vibe. Finally, when we looked at the topography of both sites, we noticed that Mascot was extremely sloped, as well as Norfolk having an extremely sloped side.
And this is the overview of both sides, Norfolk and Mascot Street. As you can see, this is the slope CJ was talking about. And these are the existing trees which we want to keep in our site, but some trees are like dying.
For our concept diagram, we believe that education is our main focus to both of our sites, and it seeps into smaller things like the art, the kids zone, and the community events we want throughout both Mascot and Norfolk.
And these are some precedents we want on our site. Now going into materials and plants.
This is the mood board we created as a team. So we were trying to highlight all the main materials we were going to use. You'll see throughout the slideshow that we use a lot of cedar wood, brick, and stone because they're locally sourced as well as eco-friendly. This is our plant schedule. So we have a wide variety of plants, and the filled in boxes on the right are when they grow. We used a lot of plants that stay year-round alive because we want it to feel cozy and warm even in the winter when flowers and stuff aren't growing.
And these are some animals we want on both sides to create a more like eco-friendly system and like both of the sites. Now going into Norfolk Street.
So with our Norfolk plan, we don't wanted to have an entrance area with seating and tables. And as you move into our site, we would have a stage structure surrounded by freeform seating, as well as having a green wall to prevent sound from the commuter rail from affecting our site. We also used the slope terrain to create solar panels, and we wanted to give a playground area to make it more accessible for kids.
Now going to our planting plan, we wanted to add the trees to where the commuter rail is to mitigate the sound, and also want to add all the fruits and veggies and bushes inside the site to give a really cozy feel. And here's one of our renderings for Norfolk Street. As you can see here, we have our stage and a bunch of seating, plus the play area and solar panels we talked about, plus the trees I mentioned earlier.
And this is like the human's perspective walking throughout the site. As you can see, if you highlight the play area, education, seating, and stage, because we want to create like a community event and for kids to play and connect back to education.
As you continue through our site, we had our welcome area have seating and tables so people that can take their plantings after going throughout our site and take a seat, and it would also be visible from the sidewalk for more people walking by to want to come into our site. We also wanted to use a stage, and the stage would have a cone kind of shape so the sound would stay into our site and wouldn't bleed out.
Now looking into a playground that we mentioned earlier, we wanted these kids to have fun and like go on this 2-story structure. And diving in, we have a bunch of interactive things like stumps, chimes, ladders, and this like interactive net for the kids to enjoy. Now moving on to Mascot Street.
With Mascot Street, we had our main path that would break out into secondary stone paths, as well as having terraced garden seating that would look into our stage. We also wanted to create pollinator hotels on the side of this site, so nearby pollinators would come in and make the site more eco-friendly.
And looking for the planting plan of this site, we wanted to keep the existing trees on the site, and where the overlook ramp is, we wanted to add bushes because those bushes thrive better in the shade. As you can see here, we want to have very cozy feel, so we had most of the trees in the middle and having bushes and flowers. And at the very bottom right here, we wanted the people at Dorchester to grow their own fruits and veggies and share their own culture.
And here you can see an aerial perspective of Mascot Street. You can imagine walking through that back foresty area, tending to your own plants in your planting beds, and that art wall in the back, having the stage in the center with the overlook in the back, so that is ADA accessible and connects from the street to our site. And then underneath the overlook is our plant wall and misting system. So that plant wall is 8.5 feet high. It's made out of cork. That cork will absorb sound, and the height of the wall will block sound coming from the train inside. There is an irrigation system within the plant wall or the green wall that will self-irrigate that and will reduce the amount of human effort that has to go into keeping up that plant wall. In the winter, those pockets can be used for non-plants. And then here, taking a look at the misting system, it's a small system and will be hidden behind rocks. So you'll get the feeling of mist and the sound of the misters, but you won't actually see the misting device.
This is the view of the terrace seating on Mascot Street. So as you can see, you have planters in the back and the stage with the lights in the front. Cool.
And now looking at the stage, it's an ovular shape, as the space should be organic. So the shapes should also be organic. It has a 22-degree roof, which will allow for a 6-foot tall person at the top of the hill to still see in and see any performances that may be happening on the stage. When performances are not happening on the stage, it can be used as freeform seating that has shade and just an overall pleasant, relaxing space.
And this is the overlook, aka the ramp, where, as you can see, if somebody stand on top of here, you can be able to see the train and the other side, which is Norfolk. And here are some highlights because we want the art wall for people to come inside to spray paint, and the stage for events to be hosted. And it can also be used for shade for season. And this is the structure of the overlook. We have the base, which here kids above 5 will be able to stand on it to look through the other side. And we have up here the holder to hold for safety. And we have the railing, as you can see, it's space in between for kids below 5 to look through and see over all Norfolk sites for safety reasons, because we don't want them to climb up. And the slope is 1 to 12 for wheelchair accessibility to be able to move freely. And going into conclusion.
So food is a common ground, a universal experience, and education knows no bounds and can engage different people of all ages. We hope that these renders and our site as a whole have embodied these ideals. And by re-engaging both the plants and animals, we can educate the community and create a space that Dorchester can enjoy and use successfully. We'd like to give a big thank you to our TA Cyrus. We would be nowhere close to where we have been without him, and a thank you to all of you, of course.
Thank you. Liz, you can go ahead and share.
I just want to say thank you so much for the thoughtful design and all of the hard work. Your design really captures the feeling and the richness, fullness of food forests, which are based on permaculture design. So they do have a lot of vegetation, but their structure, because what we are doing is serving the community needs, which you've also captured really well. I love that you started with the mission statement. It's taken us a long time, as many organizations, to come up with a mission statement, but you did it so well, so beautifully. The play structure, the pollinator hotel, the green wall. We don't do green walls, but your images really inspire, and who knows, we might do that in the future. And also the shapes of the stages, the organic shapes really fit the context of the work. Again, you've captured the universal design and caring for people of all abilities. And that is really wonderful. And thank you so much. This work is beautiful. And I'm looking forward to sharing this with the community.
So just before we close, that was our last presentation. As you know, all our students are incredible. We just wanted to recognize a few students that are actually going to be entering university soon. We want to wish them the best of luck. We also have some alumni here from other years that have made the time to come and visit us. So they're also going to come up because they're starting university soon. So if you're starting university this upcoming year, please come on up. We have 3 other students that have already left. That they're going to UPenn, WashU, and Northeastern. But we want to remember them today. So Antonio, Eduarda, Tatiana, we have Gabriella and Anna. So come on up. Come on up. We want to wish you the best of luck. Thank you. So this is the groups of new designers coming into university, and not all of them are going into design, but we know that all their experience here is going to serve them for the future of whatever industry they're going to be going into. So thank you for making the time, girls, for coming out. And I'm going to hand it over to Jen, who's going to thank our sponsors and all our amazing partners.
Thank you all so much. Congratulations. Well, thank you all for being here. We're honored you would spend your time with us on a Friday afternoon. I have to do the best part of the day, which is the thank yous. So first, a huge thank you to all of these students. What a great, great job. Congratulations. And of course, all of you, family members and friends, for being here to support them. They couldn't have done it without you, so thank you. Can we have the teaching assistants just stand up? Because this team is incredible, and there's a few that you haven't gotten to see, so stand up. These are all design students and planning students who have spent their summer coaching high school students, and we're just so happy to have you, so thank you. We have over here is Stephanie and Jimmy, who make the world go round. These two will take about a week off, and then they'll start planning for next year. So they have been doing this for a very, very long time. We also have some incredible funders this year. Our two biggest funders are the City of Boston Success Link program and the ComCore Corporation through the Metro North Workforce Board. So thank you to them, because we actually couldn't do this without them. But also thank you to all of our matching campaign folks. Those are both government grants, and we have to have matches. So everybody who donated to our matching campaign, thank you. Last reminder, please come to the Women in Leadership event next week, the plant propagation party. Our board of trustees are here today. Some of them had to leave. Thank you to you. And did I miss anything else, Stephanie? Thank you to Sasaki. Sasaki, yeah, let's just do it. So Sasaki gives us this space to use over the summer, which is incredible. They also allow their employees to spend time with us all summer, which is incredible. They just come and spend their time. Our project advisors who are here, I see a handful of you. They spend all of their time making sure that these students learn the skills that are needed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we also, yeah, go ahead. We were able, through Stephanie's incredible networking, to have a whole bunch of non-Sasaki project advisors this year. So we had folks from firms all over. And then obviously we have to do a huge thank you to our site clients. Incredible. Thank you for spending all of your time. It was so incredible. And we also had 3 clients who, with the students that are already headed to school today, I believe, our 3 Seed 3 students also had us client each. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate it. And congratulations, have a great school year next year.